Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com. This is my son Ben, and today we have a look at the wonderful new vintage of the Lagavulin Distillers Edition. Yeah, you have been to Lagavulin, so it's your turn in a few minutes. First of all, this one belongs to my all-time favorite whiskies because it's a Lagavulin, 16 years of age, and it's finished in Pedro Ximénez, sweet Pedro Ximénez sherry casks, and it carries an age statement 16 years. So there are a lot of finished whiskies out on the market, but most of them, or a lot of them, do not show an age statement. This one does. And there had been this Pedro Ximénez finishing in the Distillers Edition out there for years and years, and there are a lot of old bottles out there at the collectors, and the design of this bottle changed a few years ago, and today there's only this batch number on it, LGV 4/507, and the old ones had the typical lighter green style card box, and the card box was much more massive than this one. So there's a lot of change going on, and this one is distilled 2002 and bottled 2018. So this is the newest we are able to get now today, because the 2019 will be out in fall, I think. And yeah, you visited Lagavulin.
Lagavulin is one of these nice southern Islay whiskey distilleries, and it's smaller than I expected. I expected a bit bigger because Lagavulin is so well known and also well sold. So they do have smaller pot stills than I expected, and they're really, really pear-shaped and straight. And by that I mean they don't have a constricting piece or any reflux bowl, so everything is very straight to the top. So everything goes in a conical shape, and all the vapors are instantly distilled. And with 8 to 9 hours of distilling, it's a rather rough distillate. So it carries a lot of these oily and spicy substances.
Yeah, be careful not to have too much of that. There's those fusel oil in it.
It's
designated for headache.
And what is also very unique about the distillery, I was there at the malt mill, and there was a guy running back and forth all the time, every 4 or 5 minutes, and he was checking the ppm levels. So they are really, really, really down to the detail with the ppm levels. They get 2 different shippings from Port Ellen with different peated malts, and then they blend it together and measure it and find out what variation they want to have to get exactly 45 ppm, because they are not satisfied with the normal blending process, which has plus or minus 3 or 2 or 3, and they want to get 45 ppm, always the same.
Yeah, then in former times there only have been a 16-year-old Lagavulin, and that was sold so massively and was so accepted in the audience that they were able to sell everything as 16-year-old, and they sold more and more of that, and they do not have to ship to the blenders because other distilleries in the Diageo corporation were able to substitute the whiskey. And then they reached an end at the year 2000, 2003. Then they stopped shipping to blenders at all, and it was so over asked in the market that a lot of people ran out of the 16-year-old we as well. And then they decided to have those second and third fill casks, to have them finished. And more, I think this bottle appeared already in the 90s, and they ramped that up so that they now have a wonderful, intense whiskey from the second and third fills, and with the finishing process they add up those Pedro Ximénez, that sweet sherry notes in the whiskey.
I'm really excited about how that tastes, because back in the day when I tried it, I was really not that involved with whiskey, so I kind of don't remember how the, what do you call it, the Distillers Edition differs from the normal 16-year-old. Because a normal 16-year-old, you always have a bottle somewhere, but the Distillers Edition is not around that much.
Ooh, stinky, smoky.
Intense, but this time, for the second sip, I did get a lot of sweetness as well.
There's more, yeah. The first time we opened that bottle, it was smoke over smoke over smoke, and it took over a minute or two to get really behind that smoke. After having one or two sips, there's already more. There's vanilla, a vanilla note, light sweetness from the vanilla. Then this sweet sherry note. A very light malty note, which is mostly covered by the peat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely peated. The peat is definitely everywhere. It's kind of a mixture between that smoky ham flavor and a bit of a phenolic, iodine, seaweed, smoky flavor. Little bit of malt. And with the second sip, you do get a lot of sweetness. Bit of a raisin note. Bit of a wine note.
It's just 43% ABV, so it's just friendly and gentle in my mouth. The price is around 80 euros pounds, and that changed over the years. It had risen from 60 to 80 over the last 10-15 years. So the taste in the start is quite welcoming, juicy, friendly, sherry.
It's very round for Lagavulin. The 16 is a bit more attacking, a bit more aggressive. When you have it in your mouth, it's really, really round, pleasant, silky smooth, oily, sweet, with a little bit of smoke. When you swallow it, you get a lot of smoke. Bit of that iodine flavor, bit of that sea flavor. And the nuances are also a bit of a, what is it, coffee, cacao, a little bit of vanilla in there. So it does have a few nuances that are really, really hard to find, and you could take it for a longer session and probably analyze it for a few days.
So having it in my mouth for the second sip, then it's much more mouth-filling. The oak attacks the tongue. There is an oaky aftertaste in it. There is some seaweed, some iodine, fruitiness, a little coffee, and the peat covers my mouth now. There's some cladding in my mouth. Even this is 16 years of age, 2002 until 2018. So it's no youthness of the whiskey. This is definitely the smoke which covers my mouth.
It's incredibly sweet. You really get the feeling for the Lagavulin. It definitely tastes like a Lagavulin, very similar to the Lagavulin 16, but it's more creamy, more sweet. So you do feel the PX casks.
Really.
And it's quite smoky, but as to be expected.
And spicy in the aftertaste. Coming up some ginger. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very good. So this is one of my top 5 to 10. So in the leading section of whiskies, because it has this Pedro Jimenez, which gives it a sweeter touch.
And for such a old bottle, it's really fairly priced.
Yeah, for the famous Lagavulin. Yeah. So I have no idea how the prices develop worldwide, Sometimes they are extreme at one side of the globe and lower at the other side. So I have no idea. I think this 80 euros in Central Europe is a fair price.
So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you also like this bottle, then please give us a thumbs up and see you next time.